This is one of the reasons I love professional wrestling. See, if we got into a time machine and we went back 1 week, everybody was saying it was going to be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes 3 at WrestleMania 42. Then all of a sudden this week, people are saying, oh no, Drew McIntyre winning on SmackDown has cancelled those plans. And then in the last 24 hours, everyone said, oh no, actually, the Drew McIntyre title win is going to lead to Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes Part 3. Now again, it's all speculation, it's all rumours, it's all people saying they have sources, they don't have sources, you never know. And that's why you do take it with a pinch of salt. But the reason I think it's so damn exciting is because we can sit down, we can put our nerd hats on, there's nothing wrong with fantasy booking, right? There just isn't. I think people get too crazy about this, and that's what we are going to do today. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe because it's YouTube in 2026. Don't know what I'm doing, let's go. Now listen, when we go back to all that War Games stuff, I think it was quite clear, around that time frame, the WWE was at least thinking about Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, right? Do you remember that time CM Punk was in the ring and Cody Rhodes was in the ring and Roman Reigns left and they were like, which champion are you talking about? And Roman was like, oh, you have to figure that out. And then when we get to the War Games, Roman Reigns helped CM Punk up, but he looked at Cody Rhodes like, I don't like you, and I'm never going to help you again. So at some point, also they had that bit where they crossed each other on the entranceway, and Cody looked at Roman and Roman looked at Cody. They didn't want to kiss. They were mad at each other. So let's not pretend, and let's also let them pretend it's January the 15th, whatever the hell it is. In no way, when we are 4 months out from WrestleMania, should that not be on the table. Now listen, I'm not saying that WWE shouldn't have locked in WrestleMania by now, but I don't mind if it's just an idea, as long as the storytelling that I'm seeing on my television screen is good, right? And sometimes you do need to pivot. I would imagine the Drew McIntyre victory on SmackDown was a little bit of a pivot, and more power to WWE. We saved the Drew McIntyre at a main event level, or the Drew McIntyre character at the main event level, because if he had lost to that feud, where the hell does he go after that? Because he'd just been lost to Cody, lost to Cody, lost to Cody. I actually think Cody Rhodes now feels more interesting because he did suffer a defeat, and also you now have the Jacob for two issue, or the Jacob for two, whatever word you want to use, because is he a babyface? Is he a heel? Is he going to be a tweener? Like, he attacked Drew McIntyre, which was all the sense in the world, but he also kicked the crap out of Cody Rhodes. So does that mean, SmackDown's in a few days obviously, we're going to get a story where it is like Jacob Fatu doesn't know who whooped his ass. He kind of has evidence that could suggest both of them. And maybe with Cody, we don't just have him go, it was not me, and here's irrefutable proof. Maybe we do leave it a little bit ambiguous. We do kind of have fun with the Cody Rhodes character, because I would suppose he is sort of whiter than white meat babyface at the moment, and when you do that for too long, eventually it could run out of steam. Now, I'd also counterpoint that to say it hasn't really run out of steam with Cody at the moment. I know he got booed in Germany, but it's because people wanted to see a title change, and because we are in Europe. I think when it comes to European stars, people see Drew McIntyre in that lot. Look what happened to Gunther, right, when he came out on Raw. People cheered AJ Styles, but when they saw Gunther, like, yeah, it's Gunther. Some people on the internet tried to pretend there was no reaction. I tell you, man, it's just grifting. So really, what do we do? Now, there's a very easy way to get to Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Some people are going to like it, and some people, rightfully so maybe, are going to throw their toys out the pram, and that is Roman Reigns has to make his big television comeback at some point, and Drew McIntyre is going to need an opponent at the Elimination Chamber, I would imagine. If I was going to put my fantasy booking hat on, I would say that Sami Zayn's going to win all these matches on Friday, or at least the match at Saturday Night's main event. And of course, that match is in Montreal when he goes on to Saudi Arabia to take on Drew McIntyre. So Sami Zayn versus Drew. You could have Sami Zayn win there, especially given where it is. I don't think WWE would do that. I don't think they're going to hot the potato of the belt that much. I don't think Sami Zayn is going to go on the road to WrestleMania as the champion. I'd also argue it probably isn't the right time, especially because you have the story at the moment that Sami Zayn cannot beat Drew, but you could do it as well. Let's just say that he's not going to. That leaves Drew McIntyre with a big opening at the Elimination Chamber. Now, we don't know who's going to win the Royal Rumble. I'm now starting to think maybe it could be a Braun Breaker, or of course Roman Reigns could come back and win it. But I think the reason maybe you don't do that is because maybe there is a way, and again, it's wrestling, you can do whatever you want, where somehow Roman Reigns defends the belt, goes after the belt at the Elimination Chamber against Drew McIntyre, and he could win it there. And then I would imagine on that same night, Cody Rhodes wins the Elimination Chamber. I don't think they would have Cody win the Rumble 3 times in a row, or at least 3 times total, mostly because I did a video on TikTok, I think it was. Please do follow me on there. And I even suggested this. Oh my gosh, the meltdown about that. You can still do it, of course. Then it would be what? Cody, Jey Uso, Cody. So maybe do give it to somebody else. But if Roman Reigns wins that title at the Elimination Chamber, and then Cody Rhodes is victorious in the Elimination Chamber, straight away from that middle of February period, whatever the hell the EC is, all the way through to WrestleMania, everyone is going to know it's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes Part 3, and this time Roman Reigns is going in with the championship. Well, I shouldn't say this time, but once again, Roman Reigns is going in there with that championship, which would make it super duper interesting, because does Roman Reigns keep hold of that title? Does somehow Cody Rhodes get it back before then? It's Roman that takes the belt off him, because you have to imagine that's what Roman Reigns is going to be pushing for. The reason I think it makes more sense for Roman to go in with the title and then potentially lose it is because, as we know, Roman Reigns these days is a part-timer. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Let's not pretend that Joe Anoa'i hasn't busted his ass for the last 10 years. So if he's got that cushy contract, I mean, it does work. Every time he comes out, people react like he's a super duper whooper star, which he is, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. I just don't think you want to go back to like a 2016, 17 period, which is what we did with Brock Lesnar and the Universal title, when you have someone that never turns up to television, or maybe Roman Reigns has decided post-WrestleMania he's going to have a consecutive 8 weeks, 12 weeks on TV. So it's certainly not open and shut cage, right? There's loads you can do. But then I suppose there's the big spinneroonie you could do. I don't know it's a good idea, but it's on the table. Which is, given what happened last year, let's not pretend that WWE doesn't enjoy a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Though I actually think you would be running the gambit a little bit, because you don't want to copy and paste too much. But yes, WrestleMania 42 could end with Cody Rhodes getting the WWE title back and turning heel. Now, I do not think it is the right time for this at all. I don't feel it. Again, we have 4 months heading into that. And maybe WWE is banking on the fact that Roman Reigns as the champion is going to get more cheers against Cody Rhodes. I can certainly see that, right? Roman Reigns is absolutely one of the faces of the company. People love him. He's OTC1 or whatever the flub his nicknames are. It is going to be a pick'em. It's going to be, do you want to be Team Roman or do you want to be Team Cody? But that's what makes it so interesting. And everybody says, and again, we take it with a pinch of salt, that the Drew McIntyre decision wasn't made till late in the day, which is the right thing to do sometimes, because you want to feel the anticipation of the crowd. And at WrestleMania, I don't think you want to hold it off that long. But if in the build, everybody is on Cody Rhodes' ass and everybody's going, man, Roman, you got to do it, then you probably have your justification to turn Cody Rhodes heel. However, it may not what happen, and what we don't want is a Steve Austin WrestleMania 17 situation. He was on Chris Van Vliet's show the other day. Check it out. Chris is the best. And that's essentially what Steve Austin said. If he could turn back time, a lot of time travel chat today, he would have told Vince, man, in the ring, watch the stunner, kid, and he would have knocked him out with his finishing move, and he would have continued on the course, because that's what the fans wanted. And if Steve Austin is saying that, we have to buy into it a little bit. But maybe WWE has genuinely sat down. They totally believe that Roman Reigns is going to get cheered, Cody Rhodes is going to get booed, and it would be super interesting. Like, the best heel turns, as long as you do time it correctly, are the ones that happen before the fact, right? You don't want someone to be dragged down as a babyface and exhausting. We've seen that so many damn times, and then they turn. It's still good that we do that, because once again, we're listening to the fans, but it is way better. The one I will always bring in is The Rock at the Survivor Series 1998, the best booking decision that Vince Russo ever did. I didn't see that coming, and again, I was basically a fetus when I was watching this, but I didn't see it coming. I didn't think it was going to happen. Nobody had even hinted at it on TV. The McMahons had taken a Pupa's elbow on the Raw before that pay-per-view, and then it ends with them screwing over Mick Foley, Mankind, and screwing over Steve Austin, and The Rock standing tall, and we begin the corporation. It was excellent. The Rock then went back to being a heel, and he had the babyface on the other side, which of course was Steve Austin, which lit a fire under everything. Now, if Roman Reigns is going away and Cody Rhodes is becoming the super duper whooper champion heel, he needs a babyface on the other side. I argue maybe it could be a CM Punk if you really are going to go crazy with those titles. But I would also imagine that Cody is still going to be a SmackDown guy and CM Punk is going to be a Raw guy. I don't see anything that changing before WrestleMania, particularly if we are going to do Bron Breakker versus CM Punk there as well. There's a Seth Rollins angle. Like, if WWE wants to do Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, which apparently was the plan for WrestleMania, then they kind of need their own feud with no titles too. And there's probably someone I'm not even thinking about. Maybe it would be a Randy Orton. I think he's an outlier here, because flub me sideways, we've got to do that feud eventually. The whole time I've been saying that I think Randy Orton should drop Cody Rhodes, and maybe WWE's going to do it now. Maybe it's not going to be for a championship. Like, what does Cody do before the Royal Rumble, coming out of the Royal Rumble, before the Elimination Chamber, before he does go nose to nose in this fictional world with Roman Reigns? I don't think that's long enough to do the Randy Orton stuff, so maybe WWE is playing the long game, and Cody Rhodes is going to win it back at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton's going to be his first opponent, but Randy Orton's going to be the face, and Cody's going to be the heel. Now, I don't know how I feel about that, but Randy has become a legacy star, so maybe WWE also is imagining, well, we'll try and turn him heel, but no one's going to boo him because they super duper love him. Whereas Cody is the face of the company. Whether people want to get mad about that or not, he's at least one of them. And when you sit in that role, eventually people are going to turn. It's the reason WCW turned Bill Goldberg, because they had like one person booing, or at least stopped the streak. But again, there is reasons for that. It's where the Steve Austin thing came from, because it was like, what else are we going to do? We've totally run out of steam, and we should have done it with Roman Reigns, but we didn't. But it's another example. We're going to put you on the top. We want you to be cheered. And eventually there are some fans that are like, well, maybe I supported this before, but I don't support it now. The other thing you could say is, do you want Randy Orton being that super baby face on SmackDown when a younger guy could take that position? But then you can bring in an Obafemi, right? Or you could bring in, I don't think Trick Williams is going to turn face that quickly, but there are dudes that can do it. You just need to make sure they're in the right position. And because I think Obafemi is the greatest new professional wrestler to ever walk this earth, I would love the fact Obafemi got a massive win on that show, and then he goes into a feud with Cody Rhodes, but it also kind of has a weird dynamic to it, because I don't think Obafemi is ever going to be like, oh man, what a lovable babyface. I want him to be a destroyer, which is what he will tell you face to face. But it's certainly interesting. I do like the fact that people are talking about it. Of course, now for the next few months, anytime we do take a certain turn in the road, people are going to be like, I told you so-and-so was lying. I don't think anybody is lying here. I think people are just trying to put pieces together. And I'm sure a lot of information coming out may be quite conflicting. But the other sort of would-be matchup, I suppose you could write down based on where we are, is Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob for 2 in a 3-way. I personally don't think that's a WrestleMania match. And I also think you could probably do Jacob for 2 and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania should you wish. Drew McIntyre is going to be fine now if he goes on a solid 6-week, 2-month, whatever it may be type. Nobody thought he was going to get it anyway. He has now got it. So if he puts over Jacob for 2 at WrestleMania, I really don't think it's the end of the world. I just don't. I don't think it matters. And especially you need to look forward. Again, we just talked about new faces. Jacob for 2 absolutely needs a big win at WrestleMania. Bron Breakker absolutely needs a big win at WrestleMania. Like if we come out of that show and Bron Breakker has beaten CM Punk, although I kind of think it could happen before, but we wait and see. And Jacob for 2 is just taking out Drew McIntyre, who only just won the WWE title. Not only does it put those two on a collision course with each other, which we've also teased, especially because I think that Jacob for 2 will eventually go more babyface than he will heel, although he could actually play both. This is good, and it sets you up for the rest of 2026, which you want to do. You want to have, we'll call them the older generation there, but you want to have the newer generation, the present generation. I don't understand why everyone is trying, everyone needs to be 20, everyone needs to be 40. No, as long as people are working on TV, it doesn't matter what their age is. I think that's totally redundant, but I am excited about all of this. Some people have kind of sold like, oh, Roman versus Cody 3, I can't believe we're going to do it again. And some people call it Roman versus Cody 4, because of course at WrestleMania 40, we had the tag team match on the night before. But they are two megastars. And in that WrestleMania Sunday night main event, you need two people that can make you go, well, I don't know what's going to happen here, and I cannot believe it. And once again, Cody and Roman are probably those two. I think Cody and CM Punk can do it. I think Roman and CM Punk can do it. But CM Punk does not seem to be navigating in this orbit at the moment. He seems to be taken to the left, whereas other people are going to come in from the right. I still think probably SummerSlam this year, I want Roman versus Seth, and I want Cody versus CM Punk. Although I said that for this WrestleMania too, so I know what I'm talking about. And once again, you would have to get the belt off CM Punk if Cody Rhodes comes out of WrestleMania. But I think it's a fascinating time, and I think WWE has a bunch of options on the table. But I certainly don't think you can rule anything out right now. Somebody could get injured, there may be a better idea on the table. And again, what is Roman Reigns doing? The Royal Rumble is going to be so important. I would imagine that's when Roman Reigns makes his return to television. But then if he gets thrown out of the Royal Rumble, why the hell would he be able to get a Drew McIntyre title shot? Well, you don't know. But if he does come back there and he wins it, then all of a sudden you've got to be like, what the flub is Drew McIntyre doing? You could do Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, as I throw that in from nowhere too. Because Drew McIntyre's, I think, character at the start of 2025, maybe 2024, time moves so quickly, was the Bloodline Hunter. And if for some reason WWE just stopped it, it would also go back to Clash at the Castle, which would be super fun, because there Drew McIntyre was a super babyface and Roman Reigns was the heel, and now we flipped it. I don't mind that match. And some people go, well, I don't think that's got enough star power. It depends what else you've got on the show. Not star power, but some people, I suppose because it took Drew McIntyre so long to win, don't think he should be in the main event position, but then a lot of people do. I am all for new scenarios and new ideas and trying new things. I think if anybody has put the time in, and I wouldn't even say deserving on a shot, I think he's earned the shot is a better way to put it. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew McIntyre made it all the way to WrestleMania and he took on Roman Reigns. I think that could be a great night one main event, right? Or night two. I know I said night one. I just think Roman Reigns winning the title on the first night would be a nice way to send you home. I think sometimes you want to do that. But you can do Roman versus Drew. And wasn't it Drew McIntyre? Wasn't he like the one guy that had a pin over Roman Reigns, like a 2019, 2020 era? I can't remember that either. It probably doesn't tie in because that's the big dog version of Roman and not the tribal chief version of Roman. Did he beat the tribal chief version? Who the flub knows? Too much has happened. But I don't mind that on paper. You're going to get great promos. You can tie into all of that. Drew McIntyre then would have a massive run as the champion. And it's not on anybody's bingo cards right now. And sometimes that is what is best for business, is to do something a little bit different. And then sure, Roman Reigns comes out of that WrestleMania being the champion. And then maybe he does feud with Seth and Seth takes it off him. And then we're back to where we were. That's totally fine because Seth Rollins is absolutely coming back as a babyface. So I will take Cody versus Roman part 3. I will take Seth versus Roman. I would take CM Punk versus Braun Breaker. I would take CM Punk versus Cody. I would take Cody versus Randy Orton. I would take Cody versus Jacob for 2. Imagine we do so well with Jacob for 2 that people are on the edge of their seat going, I need to see him take on Cody Rhodes. Imagine we're able to play that storyline off and make it one of the best storylines of all time. Who attacked Jacob for 2? People like to go, well, that's not going to happen. Yes, you're probably right. But I think we need to put positivity and hope into all of these things. We did not know that Sami Zayn during the Bloodline at the time was going to become one of the best things of the modern day, and it did. Because we gave it time and we made sure it worked. You never know where it's going to come from. We just need chemistry. And I can't remember seeing much between Jacob for 2 and Cody Rhodes. They have interacted, but mostly Jacob for 2 was doing the US title stuff and the solo stuff and everything with Drew McIntyre. So there could be something there as well. But no, I am not out counting, which is not a word, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes part 3. And once again, given that they are in the twilight of their careers, or at least Roman Reigns isn't appearing as much as often, if you want to do the trilogy and you want to finish it up, you do it at WrestleMania. It's the right place to do it. I doubt you're going to do it next year because I think WrestleMania 43, am I getting this right? I don't know, is going to be a lot of legacy stars and a lot of bombastic over-the-top stuff. So if you've got a story you want to tell and you want to draw a line under it, that's where you do it. And if it did end with Cody Rhodes turning heel, and you can actually deliver on it, and like John Cena, maybe that makes amends for that too. Although I'll die on the hill that if Travis Scott hadn't have come out, it would have been fine anyway. And of course, the main event is always the most important part of the show because you want people to be at a fever pitch when you get to the last match. But WrestleMania as a whole should be so star-studded that when you get there, you're still pumped up for it, but you've also been on one hell of a wild ride, right? You don't want to exhaust fans. We saw that at WrestleMania 35. Let's never do that again. I think some people are saying, oh, we can't possibly do, for example, Drew versus Roman because Roman versus Cody is there. But you can. You just have to make sure the build and everything else works and it ticks all the boxes. Somebody could also take off from nowhere. We go back to WrestleMania 30 and the Bryan Danielson thing, Daniel Bryan. Well, that was happening like 6 months to 8 months to a year beforehand. I can't see anybody in that spot right now. But I want WWE to take that off the table. That's when you fall into an LA Knight situation. LA Knight fans get really mad. I'm still hoping it's going to be LA Knight versus CM Punk at the Royal Rumble. But let's say it is. Where does LA Knight then end up when he gets to WrestleMania? What if he goes on a tear? What if he can sneak into something? What I think I'm getting at is that I would rather stay away from multi-mans this year because WWE did kind of overdo them a little bit in 2025. And I always think that one-on-one match at the end of the night when you've got a good guy versus a bad guy for a championship, it just always works. And at WrestleMania, which does have all the pizzazz and it has all the history and it has all the color that WWE wants it to have, that's just good stuff. And sure, I think you can say WrestleMania 40, awesome. Everybody loved it. WrestleMania 41, controversial, although the Saturday Night main event was really, really good. And then the John Cena, Cody Rhodes stuff, well, I just kind of hinted about how I do feel about it. But let's not forget, like I say, the night one stuff, really good with Roman Reigns and who else was it? CM Punk and Seth Rollins, starting off the Vision. And also on night 2, you had the Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky match. It's not like WrestleMania 41 is a total bust. However, WrestleMania 40 was so good, I would imagine that WWE wants to go back to that, which is probably why Cody versus Roman got pitched to begin with. Everybody probably sat down and said, how do we make the best WrestleMania we can? Who are our top stars? It's Cody Rhodes and it's Roman Reigns. Maybe Cody Rhodes turns heel at the Elimination Chamber and then we do a wink, wink, nudge, nudge that way to John Cena and Cody goes in to WrestleMania as the heel. Now, I hope we would have learned. John Cena, apparently, the rumor is he was actually going to turn heel at WrestleMania as opposed to the Elimination Chamber. Now, the Elimination Chamber last year was one of the best moments of the year. The fallout, of course, we can discuss till the cows come home. Save it to WrestleMania, right? There's so much other stuff you could do on the Elimination Chamber. We're going to crown a number one contender for the women and a number one contender for the men. There'll be a championship match. Roman Reigns, like we say, could walk away with that belt. Save the heel turn for WrestleMania, especially that's how it's going to end. Because you don't want to end too somber back-to-back WrestleManias, which is what we should do. It probably would have been more impactful if John Cena done that. And then Cody can do the same. And you won't be thinking, oh, I'm so sad, I can't believe this has happened. You just be like, oh man, I need to watch Monday Night Raw. So I think WWE's in a good place, especially because when they started 2026, they didn't have a Bloodline stuff like they did a couple of years ago, or Cody finishing his story. They didn't have a John Cena like they had in 2025. So you do need to wrap up the playbook a little bit, and you do need to do different things, which is why I really like the Drew McIntyre decision. And let's do more of those as long as they make sense. Don't change the belt for fun, but change it when you can feel it in the air. And I saw no criticism to Drew McIntyre winning that belt, so it must have been the right thing. However, when I say not as not, well, you say matters lots, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this. What do you want to see night 2, main event of WrestleMania 42? There's no wrong answers. You can say Otis versus Tozawa. As long as you can justify it with stories and pump up juice, which is the worst thing I've ever said, I'm on board. Don't listen to people that go, I can't believe you said that. It's fantasy booking. It's make-believe. You can do whatever you want. Do not forget that professional wrestling is meant to be fun. Ignore the flipping grifters. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Please do hit the notification bell. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about Gunther probably retiring AJ Styles. I'm convinced of this now, and it's going to absolutely break your heart. That could happen at WrestleMania 2, which would add to all of this. Then go to grillermind.com/Simon. You can Simon get money off. There's a link down there in the description. It ships worldwide. It's good supplements. Otherwise, I wouldn't promote them to you. Patreon.com/Simon316 for my watch along. Simon316 on social media, and then TikTok, Cameo with Pro Wrestling Tees. Hit up my TikTok and Instagram right now. I have a brand new talk show. It's Between Two Ferns for pro wrestling, right? It's what RJ City did with AEW. I was planning it for most of last year, and then RJ said he was going to stop his. I was like, man, now people are going to think I just ripped off his idea. Technically, I ripped off the idea before that, but that guy's still the GOAT. And one day, maybe I'll even get him on that show. Goodbye.